Hello everybody and welcome to C-Town Vapes. I am Chris as always, and today taking a look at one of my favorite starter kits that has come out in quite some time. Call it a starter kit, stall it, call it, stall it, whatever. Call it a midpoint kit, I don't know. It's kind of in the middle, but it's priced very competitively, and you get a lot in here, and it's really a great performer. The tank that comes with this is really solid. The device is fantastic. It does temperature control. It's firmware upgradable. You can do TCR settings on it. It does everything from titanium to nickel to stainless steel. So you have a lot of flexibility with this. Let's go ahead, dive down, zoom in, get to know this thing a little bit more, up close and personal, see what comes in the box, check everything out, and then do some vaping. So let's do it. All right, so here is the box that the iStick Pico comes in, and you can see mine's a little bit dented down there at the bottom, but overall, a pretty substantial box actually for this this device. You can see on the front, it gives you a nice representation of what you're getting. This is the black version, so mine looks a little bit different, but it is firmware upgradable, and they've got on here what Pico stands for. So preferable, innovative, compact, outstanding. Okay. Taking a look at the back side of the device, you can see all of the marketing verbiage, as you will, and then keep out of reach of children, and then everything that the kit comes with. So you do get the iStick Pico, you get the Milo 3 mini atomizer, so you get that tank, which is nice. You get 1.3 ohm coil head, 1.5 ohm coil head. You get some extra sealing rings, 4 of those, a USB cable, and then the user manual for the tank and the device. So cool. Let's go ahead and bust open this bad boy. So slide up the box here, and there you go. As soon as you open it, you're presented right away with the iStick Pico and the Milo 3 tank. So the first thing I'm going to do is run through the iStick's features, and then we'll go over the tank. But let's see what everything else that comes in the box here. So we'll go ahead and remove all of that good stuff. You do get the manual for the iStick Pico. Then you get the manual for the Milo 3. And the manuals are actually pretty substantial. Here's your USB cable for upgrading your firmware or charging. You can do either with that. And here's all of the extra seal rings that it mentioned on the back of the box. And then the extra atomizer head. And this one is... This is actually the 0.5 ohm coil head, so this one, that means the, what was the other one that was in there? Was it 0.2 or 0.3? The 0.3 ohm coil head must already be installed in the tank. So anyway, you'll notice that these coils look very similar to the Atlantis and Triton coils, and yes, they are interchangeable. So that is cool. On my other tank, I was actually using a Triton Clapton coil in the Milo 3, and it worked fantastic. So let's go ahead and set everything off to the side. We'll focus on the device itself first. You can see it's very small, very compact, feels really good in the hand. The fire button's right where it should be. And I really love this device. It's well made, but it's still lightweight. It's easy to carry around, stick in a pocket. You know, you can almost hide the whole thing in your hand. So, you know, if you're vaping, you can kind of stealth vape a little bit with this, although you do put off a pretty good amount of vapor with the Milo 3 tank. So the first things first, in order to go through the menu with you, I need to put a battery in here. So in order to do that, that's why you have this little part that sticks up here. Some people may love it, some people may hate it. I happen to actually think it looks just fine. So you just unscrew that, and you can see there's a negative sign down there. So that's where the negative on the battery will go. So I'm gonna bust out one of my LG batteries here. And you'll note that was in a battery case. Always practice battery safety. And then just insert it with the negative side facing up towards the negative symbol on the cap. Screw everything together. And then you'll notice it boots right up, and by default it went into nickel mode. So let's zoom in a little bit here. Okay, now as far as the functions of this go, the very first thing you're probably going to want to know is how to jump around to the different modes. That's very easy. You're just going to do 3 clicks, and then your adjustment buttons are here on the bottom. So fire button, adjustment buttons, easy, easy. So 1, 2, 3. That's going to take you into the mode to select. So you've got nickel, bypass, wattage. You've got 3 TCR modes that you can custom set, and I'll show how to do that in a minute. Stainless steel, titanium, and then back around to nickel again. So I'm going to actually go into wattage. On standard wattage mode, it's what you would expect. You can go all the way down to 1 watt, and then you can go all the way up to the 75 watt max. So there you go. Now there's no atomizer in here, so obviously we're not getting an atomizer reading on there. But let's say you were in temperature control mode. So we'll switch over to something. Let's go to titanium. Let's say you're in titanium and you're like, I don't want 75 watts. So, you set your temperature and you go up to, 310. And you want to change your wattage setting. In order to do that, you click 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now you can adjust your wattage up and down. So say you only wanted this to be at 70 watts, then you can go ahead and set it to 70. Now you're at 70 watts, 310 degrees, and you are in Celsius mode. Now, if you don't want to be in Celsius mode, you can actually, once you get up to the maximum temperature, then you can click again, and it's going to jump you over to the lowest setting in Fahrenheit. So then you can jump that all the way up to what you would want. And if you want to go back to Celsius, drop to the lowest reading on Fahrenheit, click again, and you're back into Celsius. So I'm actually going to go ahead and stick it in Fahrenheit mode and say I'm at 450, I'm at 70 watts, boom, there's your settings. Now, one thing is if you want to lock the resistance on this, you'd actually hold the plus button and the power button for 2 seconds while the device is on, and then this little ohms thing would change to a lock. But since I don't have an atomizer on here, I can't show that in the demo. Some of the other features of this, of course, you can lock the device by pressing both of these buttons simultaneously, and then the device will go into lock mode. So then you can't change anything. And then to unlock, just do the same thing as you did to lock it, and it will say unlock. So now you can adjust again, and then if you actually want to go into stealth mode, you would hold down negative and power for about 2-3 seconds, and it's going to say stealth mode on. And now when you're vaping, it's actually not going to pull up the screen at that point. But again, no atomizer, so turn stealth mode back off again. Now, say that you don't like the screen being oriented like this. If you actually want to change the screen orientation, you actually power it down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's going to power you down. And then you are actually going to hold the plus and minus buttons while it's powered down for a couple of seconds, and you'll see the screen rotates the other way. Hold it down again, and the screen rotates back again. Now, while the device is powered down, if you want to go in and set your TCR memory modes, while it's turned off, you're going to actually hold down the plus button, the up button, and the power button for a few seconds. And then you're actually going to enter into the menu here for setting your TCR. So you can go through which menu mode, it times out. You can go through which menu memory mode you want to actually set. If I can get it to go back into it again. It takes about 5 seconds of holding it down to actually get that menu to come up. So you can do memory 1, memory 2, memory 3, and then click again, and now you can set whatever you want here as far as your TCR settings go. And you can look up online and figure out, what the best settings are for, what you may be using. You can also look at the manual. You can see here on page 6, it does have TCR value ranges for the various different types of wire that you may use, including the stainless steel 303, 304, 316, and 317. I find with stainless steel, going online and finding out, like say you're using 316, going online and finding a TCR value for 316 and just entering it in, that seems to be the best way to handle stainless steel from my experience. Either use it in wattage mode or go in and do a TCR value. So the manual does actually come in handy for that, but like I said, you can also go online and look as well. So that is pretty much it as far as that goes. So now I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to click 3 times, and I'm going to, I'm clicking too many things. All right, 1, 2, 3. That's going to take me into here. You do 4 times, you go into the wattage setting on temperature control. So now I'm back into standard wattage mode. So we're going to go ahead and drop the wattage, down to a nice safe range. You'll see that it will go down pretty quickly once you've been holding it. It does not round robin around, it stops, so you kind of got to deal with that. If you go all the way down or all the way up, you may have a little bit of a journey going from 1 to 75, but it doesn't take too long. So now let's take a look at the tank itself. All right, so here is the Milo 3 tank. You can see it's nice and small. I don't have the exact figures on this tank. Maybe the manual will tell me the specifics, because the box doesn't really say. So when all else fails, check the manual. Let's see if we can get some specs on this bad boy. Well, the manual's of no help either. I'll tell you what, when I go back out to vape on it, I'll see if I can find some information online to give you the deets on how much this actually holds, and possibly some sizing information. It is a 22 millimeter device. Now you'll note, pretty much the only thing that's going to fit on here is 22 millimeter because of this little battery cap sticking up. So that is one of the downsides. But other than that, I really love it. So anyway, here's this. And to take this apart, not too crazy. It is a top fill device. So to fill it, you just unscrew the top piece, and you've got 2 large kidney shaped holes to drop your juice in. Nice and easy to deal with there. You'll see it does say Milo 3 along the side as well. The 510 drip tip does just pop off, so nothing too crazy or out of the ordinary there. I find the drip tip is just fine. It does double click in, so it really goes in there tight. Now, one of the interesting things with this tank is you actually have this little ring that moves, and this is your airflow control. It's kind of hard to see, but the airflow area is right along the bottom, so you can open it, and then you can close it off. It's really hard to see on camera, but that is where the airflow is coming into this tank, and that is how you adjust it. Now, what you'll do is you'll just turn it all the way to the left, and then lefty-loosey, take it apart, and boom, now you've got your coil available, and there it is, 0.3 ohms, so 30 to 80 watts, right in the sweet spot range for the Pico. So that was done by design, I'm sure. And then to change out the coil, very easy. You can just unscrew it. Like I said, you can use the new the Atlantis coils that are newer with the bigger juice flow holes in the actual coil, and then you can use the like the Triton Clapton coils and things like that. And I found out the Clapton coil experience in this is just fantastic, but these coils that come with it are actually really, really nice as well. Then as far as taking the rest of the tank apart, if you wanted to clean it or something like that, you can actually just slide the glass piece right off. Takes a little bit of finagling, and the O-ring might want to come with you, but that does come off as well. So now you've got just this piece exposed here. And because this is all one piece, you know, you really, if you're cleaning it, I recommend probably popping the O-rings off, if, you know, giving it a good scrub, or put it in like a sonic wash or something like that. But the glass does come off, it is replaceable, and you can clean it easier that way. So then to put it back together again, you just slide the glass back on, make sure that your O-rings are all happy with how everything fit together, and that's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot to this tank. It's really a very simple design. So what I'll go ahead and do is actually we'll juice it up and fill it up, and then we'll vape on it. So I've got some schnozberry 3 milligram juice here. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of just give the coils a little pre-juicing, you know, prime them up a little bit, just get some juice on those holes. And put a little bit of juice. You can see in the coil there's actually a screen there. I think that's designed maybe to help with spit back, but there is a little bit of a screen there, so I just put a little bit of juice around that. Not too much, let that soak in. And then I'm gonna screw that back onto the base section. There we go. Let me pull back out for the final assembly. All right, now that we've zoomed out a bit, I can actually go ahead and screw this bad boy onto the Pico. So you're starting to get a feel for how this whole thing is going to look, and it looks nice in my opinion. So now I'm just going to take this juice and do the top fill thing. All right, she's all filled up. Close it off. I'm assuming that my airflow is closed, which Was it or was it not? It was. Good. Got that right. So closed, open. I always close off the airflow when I'm filling these kind of top fill tanks just so I don't flood the coil. But yeah, so there is what you're going to get fully assembled there with the iStick Pico. Good looking device. Like I said, feels really great. Let's head back out and I'm gonna vape on this. All right. So the iStick Pico, as you can see, it is a very flexible device for such a small little package. And I have been using this for weeks and weeks and weeks. If you watched my vape blog, whatever, I talk about this quite a bit and in quite a positive light because I really, really enjoy this device. I use a lot of different tanks on it. I've used it with my Arctic Mini V2 or whatever that thing's called with the Tiger coils in it, and that was great. Like I said, I've used the Milo 3 with the Triton coils. I actually did look it up. This is 22 millimeters. Like I said, it's 55 milliliters or 55 millimeters in height, and it does take, looking down here, it's compatible with the Atlantis, the Triton, and the C-Cell coils. So there you go. There's all the coils that it works with. And it does come with those, believe the C-cells are what come with it. So the coil that it comes with is actually really, really, really nice. You get a nice vape off of it. I'm actually at 60 watts right now, 0.28 ohms, and that's getting me 4.1 volts. Airflow's wide open on it. I'm sure this can handle more. I'm gonna actually take it up to, let's just take it up to 70. 70 watts is gonna get me 4.43, so we'll try it out there. Oh yeah, that's nice. Nice and warm. The flavor is really good on this. I can actually taste, I've used this schnozberry juice in a lot of different things, and the flavor on this is surprisingly nice, considering that this tank comes with this device and the price. Once I get to price on this thing, you'll see why I'm so excited about that. Yeah, it doesn't get too whole hot. I mean, if you hold it down at the base, you can kind of feel it. The drip tip, unless you're hitting this over and over and over and over and just chain vaping it, the drip tip does not get very hot on this at all, but it's a standard 510. You can change it out if you want to. So pros with this device, I love the size and I love the form factor, being able to hold it in my hand. You can hide almost the entire thing. I do like that it takes a 510. Usually something of this size would have like a built-in LiPo battery or something. This does take a 510. Takes an 18650. I've got 510 on the brain looking at the drip tip. It takes an 18650, which I like. I'd like being able to change my batteries. If I'm getting ready to walk out the door and I see the battery is low, you can just quickly unscrew the top, pop a new battery and screw it back down. You're ready to go. I like that much more than I do devices that you actually have to charge through the USB. Plus, the USB can fail, and if it does, it's a bummer with this because you won't be able to upgrade the firmware anymore. But other than that, it doesn't really matter because you can still just put, use a battery charger and put a new battery in. So definitely like that it's an 18650 battery instead of a built-in battery. For something this small, that's a big plus. So I don't mind that jutting out a little bit at the top. That may bother some people. It doesn't bother me one bit. Other pros, lots of functionality. You can do temperature control. You can go in and do TCR. So you can use all kinds of different materials and really fine tune this down to how you like it. I personally haven't used it in temperature control. Like I said, I've been using it with the Arctic, with the Tiger coil, and I've been using it with the Milo 3, with the Triton coil, the Clapton Triton coil, and then I've also used it with the standard coil, which is what I have in here now, the one that comes with it. And that is the 0.3 coil that's reading 0.28. So pretty close as far as what it's rated. And like I said, at 70 watts, it's performing just great. Another plus, like I said, flavor, spot on. It's a nice looking package. I like that. I actually like that the tank is stainless steel because it kind of goes with the aesthetic of this being stainless steel up here at the top and at the bottom. I think that looks nice. I think it's just a good looking little package. And then the little O-rings are black, so those actually kind of go with the black on the device. So I think with the black one, this actually really matches well. I really enjoy the look of this tank and mod combination. It's really nice. The flavor, like I said, I can't reiterate that enough. I'm really surprised by, a tank that was just kind of thrown in to something that's a very affordable device to perform as well as it does. And it doesn't get real hot, and the airflow is smooth. I mean, you can hear it. A little noisy, but very smooth. And if that was a lung hit, say you want to do a mouth to lung, you can kind of close it off and open it up just a little bit. And you can kind of get a mouth hit going off of this too. It's a pretty wide open mouth hit, but you can get one. But when it's wide open, it's just a pleasure to use. It really is. Battery life, when you're up at 70 watts, it's going to be the same problem you're going to have with any other single 18650 device. It can chew through the battery pretty quickly, especially on the 0.3 ohm coil. You might want to step up to the 0.5 ohm coil so you can lower your wattage down a little bit if you're going to be taking this with you for a while, or just get a battery case and carry a second battery with you, and there you go, no problems. Some of the cons, one thing that my other one that I've been using for a long time, I like it so much I get two of them. This one, I don't know if this one's going to do it. It hasn't done it to me yet. Occasionally the wattage, even when I'm in locked mode, will go up or down like 0.2 watts. So like it's at 70 now, and then I would go to use it later and it would be at 69.8. I apologize if you hear loudness outside. It's storming and raining like crazy. But so it kind of adjusts itself on its own a little bit, which is a little bit odd. So that's a con. Like I said, some people may not like the look of this jutting out the top. That's subjective. And then, other than that, I can't really find a whole lot about this thing that I don't like. I mean, honestly, it's a solid device. The only other real con here is the fact that this battery thing sticks up a little bit means that you are limited to 18 millimeter or 22 millimeter tanks on here. Anything else is going to get in the way of this little battery cap thing, and it's not going to fit. So if you're using 24 millimeter tanks, you're going to be out of luck on this device. But other than that, fantastic pricing. Let's check that out. So what I did is I did my usual Google search and then pulled up any vendor that I've used before that I know is reputable. So Vapor DNA has it for $41.99. Element Vape has it for $38.95, and you can get this in silver, black, white, pink, or gray, and they have it in stock as well. And then 101 Vape, it looks like it is in stock there for $37.99, so they're actually the cheapest of the group. Like I said, I have used all three of these vendors before, and they're perfectly reputable. So for under 40 bucks before taxes and shipping and all that good stuff, boy, this is a really hard combo to beat. And I was actually out with a friend the other day, and she had an iStick 30 watt with a tank that was 0.5 ohms on the coil, and she just couldn't get enough power to it. And then I had this with my Arctic tank on there. We walked outside of the restaurant, and I took a vape, and I'm sitting there, and she's going, how come I'm not getting that much vapor off of mine? And I explained to her, you don't have quite enough wattage to really power that tank. Plus, I never heard of the tank she was using. And I said, hey, this iStick Pico is a kit, and it comes with a tank, and the tank and the coils that come with it are fantastic, and it's like around 40 bucks. I highly recommend you look into it. So she was actually going to go down to one of the vape shops here in Indianapolis and actually try to pick one of these up that day after using mine. She was so impressed with it. So I think for a nice, affordable, take with you, take to work, take in the car, you're going out shopping, you're going to, some kind of a cookout or something, this is a great thing to have with you. If, bummer, you lose it or something happens, you're only out 40 bucks, and, you're getting a great tank and a great device for that price. Now, it's a very important time right now for advocacy with the FDA madness going on. Make sure that you do your part to help fight for our right to continue to vape and continue to have fun devices like this and all of the other things on the market, because lots of people out there still need to quit smoking, and those of us who have already transitioned over to vaping really, really want to keep our vapes. I know I do. So please sign up. There'll be a link in the description at CASA.org to find out what you can do and how you can help, and make sure that you contact your representatives and let them know that vaping is important to you, and you vote, you vape. It is a big year for, in the United States at least, for voting. So use that to your advantage. Be polite, be professional, but definitely state, how you feel about what's going on and how important vaping is to you. That's my advocacy rant for you at the end of this video. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and click on that subscribe button. You can also follow me over on Instagram at ctownvapes, and I'm on Twitter as ctownvapes as well. If you have any pressing questions, I need to set my email account back up. I haven't checked it in a while because I got a new phone, but my email address is ctownvapes@gmail.com. You can send me a message there as well, or just comment below. And you know the drill. Don't be a stranger. Check back soon and vape on.